Are you ready to find peace in your heart? Of course you do. I'm Coach EaZy, and welcome to the Cause It's Easy show. As an empowered empath, empowering mindsets, and confidence through adversity, I will help you connect and conquer. Listen in as we talk real about serious concerns in the world and learn how by working together we can make life amazing. You are the ultimate number one in your life, and that's why you can be whoever you want and do whatever you want without worrying what anyone else thinks. Why? Because it's easy with me, Coach EaZy. I believe there is a path to an easier way, and having God in your life is the key. On this show, laughter is a promise, and music is the spiritual language. Because it's easy. Starts now. Well, hello, good afternoon. Welcome to the Cause It's Easy show with your favorite coach, Coach EaZy from TTN, Transformation Talk Network. I hope everybody had a good weekend. Kind of that time of year where weather's weird. Sometimes it's cold, sometimes it's hot. We don't know what's going to be, as long as it's not wintertime. Of course, you people maybe watching in this warm states probably don't worry about that like we do. We like fall to last forever. So we were talking about love and respect last week, and I didn't get much time to talk about the respect part. Really didn't get a lot of time to talk about the love part, but you guys get the gist of it. I hope. Respect. Respect. To me, it's something I've always had, but yet I can get triggered. I mean, that's something I've always kind of had to work on. But when I'm disrespected, you know what I mean? Like and that's where you got to work hard. You have to have boundaries. Obviously, you don't want to let people go over those boundaries or past those boundaries. You need to stand up for yourself all the time. But sometimes you can let certain things maybe flip by. It's like, but you just can't be consistent. You can't continue to let that happen, because then that's how people break your boundaries. You have to have respect for others before you can get respect back. I know you guys have heard that before. For me, I think it was more of maybe a little intimidated, or maybe a little bit maybe scared. I don't even know what you call it. Like when I was in my I don't know, late teens, early 20s, really most of my life, but that's when I remember it. But like the old dude, like the dude like me, the old guy, I always had so much respect for him. I would never even think about being a jerk. You know what I mean? Like, or being smart mouth, or trying to be cute, or just being rude, period. You know what I mean? For one, it probably whooped my butt, but the other was just, I feel like the older guy deserves a little bit of that, unless they're a disrespectful piece of garbage. But most people get to be my age, especially we start probably in our 40s at least. We've just gotten a lot more mature, and we've lived. We've been through so many trials and tribulations, and that's where wisdom starts to come in. You just get smarter. You realize certain things aren't worth it. When you're younger, man, ready to drop and start going. But for me, I was always nice and respectful to people. Very seldom did I get into it with somebody, unless my friends were in something, and then I'd have to help. But that's what you call loyalty. We'll talk about that another day. A lot of people have lost that in this country, but another day, another story. So respect, though, I wish I could ask you guys questions, but I'd like to know if y'all kind of know what it means exactly, or what it entails. But I'm going to tell you. So empathy is something that I don't believe necessarily it's easy for everybody. Being an empath like I am, it's very easy for me, almost too easy. Like, it sometimes hinders me because I care about people. I care too much about sometimes. I don't think you can care too much about people, but you can let it affect you too much. For instance, like empaths can't handle a lot of people sometimes. And I'm an extrovert. I'm not the introvert type. I like people. I love talking to people, but in smaller doses. Large doses wear me out, like a concert. That's when you see me get on the edge of crazy. And it's usually just because of the parking lot. It drives me crazy. I get very impatient. I can't stand people that have no consideration for somebody else, and they just pull out in front of you or cut you off, or traffic drives me nuts. But anyway, And that's another form of respect right there, is let somebody in. It may take you 30 seconds longer, if that. So many people are in a hurry to get nowhere, for real. So being an empath makes empathy an easy thing. And I think empathy kind of goes hand in hand with respect, because you care about another person, or you can put yourself in their shoes and you can totally get where they're coming from, or you feel like, you've been there. For me, being an empath, we feel the energy. We don't sometimes know if someone's energy is good or bad. We just know it's there, and it wears us down, right? So that's where you'll find a lot of people, if you know anybody that maybe takes a day to be by themselves, or even half a day, like, what the hell is he doing? He's re-energizing, man. He's trying to build his energy back because he's just wore down, or she. So respect. So I would kind of was looking for something to explain to you. You can't really say you have empathy for someone or for a group of someone's if you don't give them respect. I was just saying, of taking what it is they say about themselves and their experiences, their preferences, as true, because it's their truth. You can't sit there and tell somebody they're lying. Or here's a good example: you can't tell somebody that they shouldn't be hurt, get over it, or, oh, that wasn't a big deal, but being a baby. You don't decide how their feelings are. You can't decide if you hurt someone's feelings or not. You may think you didn't do anything, but just the fact that they mentioned that, you should have empathy, at least realize maybe you did. That's all that is. You ain't doing anything. You're not being a wuss or being a, called empathy. It's called, shit, man, I didn't mean to hurt your feelings. Acknowledge it, man, and move on. The people that think they do nothing wrong, those are narcissists. They'll make, especially empath, they'll make an empath feel like they actually did something wrong. They'll twist it and turn it, and that make that person. It's happened to me. You find yourself apologizing. Like, wait a second, I didn't do anything wrong. Why am I starting to apologize? That becomes bad when especially if you don't have it empowered. Like, I'm empowered now, and I refuse to apologize. I still apologize just because I feel like that's such an easy thing to do, especially if you're having a disagreement or an argument or a fight with somebody. If they're willing and you're willing, just, hey, sorry, dude, I didn't mean to fight with you. How easy is that? A lot of people can't do it, though. I don't know what for. They'd rather keep the relationship ruined than just say those two words. I've said it over my lifetime, even when I wasn't doing anything wrong, just because those two words can make such a difference and mean so much to somebody who feels slighted or feels wrong. Even though you don't think you did it, they do. Really not hard. So anyway, to define, because they're true people get to define themselves, and you show them empathy by listening instead of disgusting or disputing or contradicting them. A lot of people, have you ever heard of the phrase a one-upper? They've always got something better than you do. Like, you can tell them your story of something great, and you're like, oh yeah, I did that, but I did that. They want to try to up you. You don't listen. So Native American Indians say they find it offensive that a sports team uses Indian tribal names or the English version of tribal names for their team name, or use Indian images for their mascots or the team chants. You listen to them and you respect them, and you have empathy for what this feels like to them. There's another example. It's a good example. We may think it's not a big deal, but it is to them. We have to give them the benefit of the doubt. You know what I mean? There's different levels of empathy. You don't have to be like, oh, I'm so sorry, we ruined, just acknowledge it and say, yep, we'll figure it out. So let's say if a woman tells you that what you are doing or saying feels patronizing or offensive, and this happens all the time. I know it does. So if she does feel that way, you show her enough respect to stop and even acknowledge it. Say, yeah, I didn't realize that was bothering you. I apologize. It's not that hard.
So many men don't do that either. They'll be like, quit being a bitch or something. You know what I mean? Those are the jackasses in the world. I mean, don't get me wrong, women can be assholes too. I'm not trying to knock all on men, but there's a reason why we God put, whether you are religious or not, having love for another person literally goes hand in hand with respect and empathy. Once we all get that in our body, I'm talking about everyone, this world would be so much better. But we let little things bother us too much. We have too much feel sorry for ourselves, too much poor me victims. We realize in life we're all going to be victims at times. And if we think we're the only one, we might need to get our head examined because everybody's gotten problems in their life. Everybody's got problems. Life is not simple, but you know what is? Fixing whatever it is that's causing the problems. Where I come in, I say, because it's easy. It's brain damage to continue doing the same thing over and over that you fail at, or that you keep getting in trouble for, or whatever the case may be. It's easy to change it up. As simple as hanging out at Inspiration Point, like they did back in the day. If the cops tell you not to go there, don't keep going there. Or you're hanging out on a street corner, or you're hanging out at someone's house. Don't keep doing it if they're going to tell you, or they're going to keep harassing you. You know what I mean? Move on. Change it up. Change it up. Like I said, to this day, and this comes where wisdom comes in, I very rarely make the same mistake twice. And if I do make it, I don't consider it a mistake. It might be to somebody else, but you know what I mean? That's where wisdom comes in, because we, as younger, that's how we learn our lessons over the years. We are, men especially, we're hard-headed. We may hurt ourselves doing something, or we may say something stupid, or whatever the case may be. We don't even think about it. We could do it again because we're stupid. We're not dumb. We're just not very wise when we're younger. And I don't even remember what year it was that I just all of a sudden felt I had this wisdom. Probably when I banged my head the second time on that motorcycle wreck. So, so I have some empathy for other people, and that comes along with respect. They both really go hand in hand. Have enough respect to give them some empathy, or at least understand where they're coming from, right? Old saying, walk a mile in their shoes. For me, spend 5 minutes in my head. So respect extends to children too. When your child is crying because he's fallen down, or maybe he's just hungry, or whatever, needs his diaper changed, because your friend said she didn't like her anymore, or because he's embarrassed by something he did in front of his peers for whatever reason, show her respect. Show her some empathy. Just because they're kids don't mean they don't deserve it. Don't dismiss their feelings, because that can hurt them down the road. I'm not even kidding you. Nobody needs to coddle their kids, but nobody should dismiss something that's bothering their own kid. They'll feel like they don't have anybody. They'll feel they can't trust, So here's another one. Show respect by checking in with them, people that are in wheelchairs or people that are disabled. Let them know that you actually care about them. Just because you're not like close to them, you know them really well, they probably get left alone a lot and don't probably get much. Why? Because they don't do any benefit. The people that don't want to talk to them are the ones that, because they don't do anything for them. There is no benefit for that person to talk to the disabled person. They probably are at home in the wheelchair, whatever the case may be. Maybe they've got a helper, but they probably spend a lot of time alone. Have enough respect and empathy to check in on them once in a while. Can I hold the door for you? It's that simple. I do that for people walking perfectly fine, just because I'm aware. There's definitely a thing. I mean, people have awareness and some people don't. Some people will walk through a door not have a clue someone's right behind them and let that door shut right in their face. Instead of going, like, I can just feel them coming. So, like, but I always check anyway. See if someone's coming, then hold the door for them. Those are simple things people can do, guys. Really is. And here we're going to get to the sensitive one. Respect obviously extends to whatever nationality you are, whatever ethnicity, whatever religion, sexual orientation, occupation, all that. I always joke, it's one of my favorite memes is people, one of the first questions people ask you when you talk to them, what do you do for a living? I think that's really the worst question you could ask first. Because why? What if they don't have a very good job or whatever? You know, then you're almost putting them behind the 8 ball. Get to know, a little bit more of them before you start dropping that in. Because what I feel like people ask that question so they know how much of amount of respect they need to give you. If you're work at a gas station, they're probably not going to be happy, or they're not going to probably treat you as well as if you're a president of a bank. And that's what's wrong with society. We judge way too much. Judgment. Only one person judges us. That's the mighty old man, our Lord and Savior. We will all kneel before him someday. But yeah, judging, I think it's just a horrible thing. I think it's one of the worst characteristics people have. And I've done it. I'm not saying I don't do it. I still probably do it on occasion, but it's really fucking something minor. But there's a lot of people that judge you on every single thing about you. Being single, I've really noticed that a lot. Like that's why I think dating sites are silly, because if you're getting judged by your pictures, never talked on the phone, because I'm gonna win you over if we talk on the phone. I'm just kidding. But no, but that's not even giving somebody a chance. I'll get into that story someday. This day and age, dating is a joke, really. Dating sites are not good. They also cause a lot of bad things with relationships. Anyway, so this is something I do a lot, but we're going to get to that here in a minute. We're going to go to a break, and I'm going to talk about being funny and joking around and teasing with people, and then we'll get into more of that after the break. Welcome back, because it's EaZy Show. And it's your host, Coach EaZy. So we're talking about teasing people, razzing people. I do it a lot. I sometimes can be a little bit more. I don't think I'm as bad as I am, but like when I was younger, me and my friends, that's all we did. We called it busting balls, I mean, you said something stupid, you were probably going to get made fun of. But it was okay. We were younger. Not everybody's into that right now. I still am. I love humor. I don't think I could get by life without humor. I either like to make people laugh or I like to laugh myself, right? Laughing's good for the soul, especially when you belly laugh. I got an old friend that we could probably wish that we were best friends when we were younger. Whenever we see each other, it's almost instantaneous. We start laughing about something, and I feel it's almost euphoric. Like I feel over happiness, kind of crazy. But anyway, so I think humor is a good thing, but not everybody likes it. Some people just don't have a sense of humor, or maybe they had a problem when they were younger that they got teased or something. You know what I mean? So there's mean humor and good natured humor. I always consider good humor. Even same thing with being crazy. I say I'm crazy, but it's a good crazy, right? There is a line between laughing at someone and laughing with someone. That's so true. Me and my buddy, we usually laugh with each other. And I'm not going to say it sometimes ain't at the expense of somebody, but we don't let them hear it. I mean, we're not, and that's still judging, but it's just more of a, we don't mean to be mean. We're just like, look at that guy's toupee or something, something silly. But you have to be careful. And you definitely don't want to say it in front of people that are going to hurt their feelings. So this guy's a perfect example here. So when you this is why this is important. Facebook, which is probably the number one besides TikTok probably these days, but when someone goes to post something on Facebook, it says, what's on your mind? So we're going to share what's on our mind, right? That's what we do. Sometimes we just post memes. Sometimes we some people have really gotten personal. I've even gotten a little kind of shedding some stuff off my mind, you know. But I don't care. That's the beauty of being empowered. I used to never do that. I used to stuff everything away. Hell with that. I'm getting it off my mind. I don't like to sugarcoat things. I'm very transparent these days. That's the other part. But I'm careful. But I'm not afraid to speak my mind, and that nobody should. That's what the beauty of freedom of speech is. People are going to get offended in life. That's too bad. Nobody's doing it deliberately. Get over it. I mean, if you feel, so I contradicted myself there, and I'm trying to check myself here. So if you weren't directing it at somebody specific, you can't help but you're going to offend people in life. If you say it to somebody specifically and it hurts their feelings, you have to acknowledge that. But like, just in conversation, you aren't going to be able to have your own opinion if you have to worry about offending somebody, because there's so many people in this world that get offended over something. You basically can't talk. So don't be afraid to speak your mind, but don't be a deliberate jerk about it. You know what I mean? But everybody's entitled to their opinion. But be careful you don't direct it at specifically one person or something, you know? So this is a guy, I'm just going to tell you what his story is. He said he's going to share his mind rather than just fun, happy stuff all the time, because he felt compelled. Perhaps it's because the whole Will Smith, Chris Rock thing has been it was so much in the news, hard not to talk about it, right? That I've been thinking about humor that makes fun of people, a very common type of humor, indeed. I never liked Don Rickles. He wasn't funny. That's old. You guys probably don't know who he is. He was just mean. I remember him. He was straight mean, but he was funny. Yeah, he wasn't talking to me, so I didn't care. Even if he was talking to somebody like me, I don't care. That's the other thing. You also have to have a little bit thicker skin in this world. So he says, I don't like the teasing people. It's fundamentally involves making fun of someone for something they don't think is funny. Come on, I was just teasing. Can you take a joke? That's where you got to be careful. Me and my friends, even. We could razz each other, but there would become a point where it's like, okay, you're just going overboard. Now you're just being me. You see what I'm saying? It's one thing to joke even with your friends, but when you constantly keep doing it like the same day, that's not good. That's going to cause a problem. Because you're doing it to be you're deliberately doing it to be an asshole now, because no one needs to make fun of somebody that much unless they have a vendetta. There's something wrong, right? Because we spread it around. There was nobody that got it by himself. But that's what he's talking about. And when you keep making fun of somebody for the same thing over and over and over, it'll wear you out. And that's a perfect example. And I'm not trying to play victim. I'm just explaining something. So when I was a kid, of course, I've explained to some people about my accident. I was literally clinging to life, and I'm very lucky. That's why I thank God every day. But that even wasn't the worst part. Not at all. I mean, I was in the hospital 3 weeks. First 3 days, I wasn't doing well. So I even had a girl ask me to the dance when I was in the hospital. The first time I'd ever even thought about it, girls, really, you know what I mean? So anyway, I finally get released and I go back to school. I'm in 7th grade. And anybody knows now, especially today's day, 7th grade is the worst probably year of your life when it comes to your growing up, you're hitting puberty, all that stuff, right? But I got made fun of so much that I was dreading going to school. And so what I ended up doing, and that's where I got my humor, is I was in survivor mode. I had to make fun of myself. And then I was funnier than they were, so they stopped, kind of. But it happened throughout my life. I still got made fun of. And some days it was more than others, and I'd have to let them know. I'm getting tired of it. So just be careful. We're about the end of the show, so I gotta wrap this up. In closing, I wanted to just say real quick, confidence doesn't come naturally. It doesn't stick around if you don't stay strong. That's why quitting is not an option. Empowering yourself takes several stages, 6 to 7, depending on where you're at. We can't have confidence without being respectful, or it just turns into narcissism. Remember that. So think about some of that stuff, and we'll talk some more next week. I just being stopped. I got to end the show. So God bless everyone. I hope everybody has a good night, good rest of your week, and we'll talk to you next week on TTN Transformation Talk Network. This is Coach EaZy on the Cuz It's EaZy Show. Take care.
You have been listening to the Cuz It's EaZy Show with me, Coach EaZy. Empowered empath, empowering mindsets, and building confidence through adversities. Tune in every Tuesday at 3:30 Pacific, 5:30 Central Time on TransformationTalkRadio.com, where I, Coach EaZy, will show you the easy way to make your life simple, abundant, and amazing. No matter what you have experienced in your life, you can feel positive, confident, learn to laugh, and have fun again. For more information on the Cuz It's EaZy approach, visit CuzIt'sEaZy.com. Cuz, C-U-Z, it's easy, EaZy.com.